Going back to practical discussion, and we've already hit on this, not everything has to be live. I know everyone's pushing that, oh, we got to do live. You can post to YouTube and Facebook, the two big places, as what they call Premiere, which acts like live, or even just putting up pre-recorded content as a regular video.
Can I add on to that question? Because I'm very curious to know y'all's thoughts. When on, beginning of the week when we met and decided we're going to start using this live, every day, then the question came, well, should we wait till tomorrow? Should we wait till we can have polished content? Should we wait till things are nice? And I'm sure a lot of churches are asking that for Sunday morning, in 2 days. My response was, as long as you connect, we'll figure it out on the way. Just do it, connect with them. We'll have a meeting every time afterwards and say you can fix this, that, and that. But connecting badly is almost better than not connecting at all. I'm curious to know if y'all agree with that, or.
I mean, I would. I've seen a lot. We've kind of seen the brutality trend coming up, where if it's ugly graphics are kind of popular now. And I think as long as it's real, it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as the content is something that people are going to connect with, it almost doesn't matter exactly how it's if the lighting's perfect, if the sound is amazing. Obviously you want good lighting, good sound on it, but as long as you're being real with it, people are going to still watch it.
I for sure. I think you, whatever you have available to you, whatever you can afford to do, and I'm not talking about just reasonable. I mean, I'm talking about be excellent in it. There are churches who have all the right gear and all the right stuff, and they're not even using it as effectively as they could. Lighting matters. So, make it right. If you're watching your own live stream back on demand later and everybody on stage looks orange, then everybody else who's watching that same video also sees that everybody looks orange. So you have to take the step, engage with the team, say, hey, thanks for this, good effort, but it can be better. Mm-hmm. Sunday vaulted our team. We're fairly consistent, iteration, kind of a culture. So incessant tinkerers is kind of a common term, parlance these days. And the idea is just, you've got something today and great, but you keep making it better. What got us here won't get us there. And so I think there has to be a get that mindset of just iterate, just make it just incrementally better. And for us, we launched into this thing, and it's now with the full light and full focus on kind of what all we can get out of technology, just squeezing everything we can possibly out of technology, again, for the purpose of ministry. I think you have to have an excellence mindset. And if you have it as a pastor, but you don't see it in the outcome or output of your people that you're leading, your leaders in the church, that's actually a you issue, not your people issue. And it might be a situation where you're not asking or empowering those people in the right ways. So if you have a mind for excellence, but you're not, I'm actually preaching to myself, because that was my issue for a long time. Excellence mindset, but couldn't figure out how to get excellence for my team. And for me, it was a lot just because I didn't want to ask them to do it. And also kind of had an idea that maybe it just needs to be me. Man, lose that. If you've got that, I can tell you, you need to lose it, because it's going to be much better if you invite your people to be a part of that process. Let excellence lead. But excellence is not expensive. And actually, excellence isn't even something you buy. Excellence is a value you have inside you. And you can have a $300 webcam. You can have a $30 webcam and have excellence. Okay. And so it's just how you effectively use what you have at your disposal. And I promise you, people see a difference between a church. Money does not matter. Don't even think about that. But people can tell when a church has a spirit of excellence, because they're using what they have as best they can to the glory of God. Mm-hmm. And if you keep that in mind, and you'll win as it relates to excellence.
Yeah, and I think on a practical note, when you're pursuing excellence and you're worried about how to do videos, I think you might all agree with me. Audio comes first. Good audio is the most important thing. Video can come afterwards. If you can get good audio and decent video, go audio. Most people want to hear good audio. They'll live with bad video.
That's a good point.
My real thought, the big question we keep having at our church, I don't know about your church, is since it's going to be an empty sanctuary, do we put our pastor in a more intimate setting? Do we do our work? We've actually just thrown around the idea of having our worship team families just film themselves leading like one song at home and then bring them together and say, we're leading from. So I, that's the big question is, do we use what we've been doing every Sunday, or do we lean into the new medium, and will smaller connect better, even though it's not this Sunday morning stage?
I love churches that I've seen going more intimate, and using and saying, hey, we're recognizing there's empty sanctuary here. So either we brought the camera up on stage and we've changed our stage around to look more intimate. We're sitting down, or going to an office, or I think I saw Brody. I think you're about to jump in. Y'all were doing some stuff in your foyer, I believe. I saw on Facebook.
Yeah, so we do like a lot of like devotional type stuff in there. We're still doing like our services on the stage because I know we got like our equipment up there and everything. But I am trying to do stuff that's not just a service throughout the week as well, and that will be a little bit more intimate for people.
I think there are things that are going to have to change for a season, and I think where we can't help it, I think let those things change to the logical place they need to go. Having this interaction online, it'd be better if we were all in person having this conversation around a table. Yes, that's the optimal situation to face-to-face, be able to give you guys a, high five, handshake, hug, whatever would be great. Nobody disagrees. That's the most optimal thing. But also like a lot is changing. This is again, an example of that change. I think, but also people know our churches and they know who we are. And I think without this, the tension is nobody wants to fake it. Okay. It's an empty auditorium. Okay. It is. And everybody watching knows the auditorium is empty. But at the same time, what they experience on a Sunday is energetic, praise and meaningful, deep worship and a great, powerful message, hopefully. And, like right now, we don't really have announcements. So there's no point in doing our church news kind of real because there's really not a assimilation event they invite people to or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a change. But also like people know our churches. And so let your church, as much as you can keep your church in terms of the expression of your church, I think you should. And I think where, I understand the story, it does get a little awkward, it's a little odd. And again, I'm not advocating for if it comes across, you have to be careful here because it can almost come across like fake. But here's an example of the opportunity. If you got on stage and you had your worship team open with that praise song, just boom. I mean, here we are. It's welcome to church. We're glad you're here. You're online. Look at the camera, like look into the camera. Like normally it's the worship leaders are looking at the audience that's, there. Now the audience is in one place. So every single person has the ability to engage on stage or preaching or anything else, has the ability to increase their engagement with. And when you look at the camera, like I am right now, I'm looking into everybody's eyes all at the same time. Like whoever's watching this video, you can see it. And so those are the kinds of things that actually become opportunities, but also keep our church real, keep our church consistent with who we are. Like people expect something when they walk in the doors of our church. And we don't want to move too far from that expression. We want to keep the energy. We want to keep just consistent to what people know. If it to me, you do risk a little bit if you deviate too far, because it's kind of like, becomes maybe potentially we even have like a shorter service, the first one, because we were kind of just figuring it out, and even that was like in the afternoon, I was like, no, probably we should. Again, you lose news segments and things like that. There's some practical reasons why it's shorter. That's okay. But also like, did we have the right energy? Did it feel like us as a church? Did it feel like us? So those are good questions that only pastors, probably senior pastors, can really answer. Tone and those kinds of changes need to be made. But I think when we can stay consistent and stay with it, let's stay, and then let everything else that has to change. We'll make the change.
Right.
Good stuff.
You said about the length there and going back to the practical. I would say, guys, don't try to do your full. If you have a 2-hour service sometimes, or there, and you have a longer there, try to condense that, because I don't know how many people are going to stay with you 2 hours online. Yeah.
They may stay connected, but they won't be focused on what you're doing. Yeah.
And so you're thinking, and again, some of that was going natural, like you won't have the announcement of time and all that, so shortened down. But you're really trying to hit that hour just because they're going to be in their homes and watching you, but also, oh, look, my kids are playing over here, or oh, I'm cooking while I'm watching. And so you're going to try to minimize time-wise what you're doing. But like Devin said, during the week now, you can come around and do 5-10 minute segments during the week and reconnect and regain some of that as well. So we talked about that practical stuff, and I know we kind of hit on where your budget is there. You don't have to go out and buy a complete live streaming system. You can do a lot with your phone. Now, if you're in a place where you think, hey, I want to have a camera, and there are some options there on the budget friendly side, you don't have to go out and do there, but it's figuring out where it is in your ministry. And so I know we're all kind of in churches and working in this area. Or what are some different setups or things that you've seen, whether you're talking about your Sunday morning or your pastor Facebook living from his office? So what some of the things that y'all have seen or are attempting to do?
Our pastor has done live from their office, but some of my more favorite ones have been like our children's leader from home with her kid leading with her, her own child. Being AG, we got a lot of Rural Rangers and Girls Clubs. Well, if you go to our groups, most of our leaders filmed themselves leading a 10-minute lesson, so that, because especially girls clubs, if they don't stay on top of their meetings, then they can't graduate. I know one of the Rural Ranger teachers, he actually went out in the woods and showed how to chop down trees or something like that, like right here in the environment. And that's how he did his Rural Ranger teaching. And then he told them, when you're done with yours, send me a picture, let me know you completed it. So I think the more diverse the environment, get other people in there. If you're talking about some of those things, like during the week, like there's a lot of exciting opportunities with the internet.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was like, we're doing like a food drop off thing. So like if you're out there with that, again, do something from wherever you're at. If you're serving the community in some way, I would like really seeing people's stories during this time as well, what we're doing, what the church is doing, what people are doing even now. And so if you're out there, take the moment, and say a few words, have your pastors, say something, even you just record it if you want to, if you don't have like a great signal, but have something out there where you're actually in it as well, showing people that we're not just all at home right now stuck. We can still do things, obviously safely, but we can still do things that is sharing God's love for them.
And did I see, you mentioned earlier, Brody, y'all are filming some devotionals to drop during the week too. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm trying to do as much as I can on my end. And I know our pastor, he's going to be doing some devotionals himself that would be live streamed as well. But I'm doing supplemental things. I'm just really kind of adding on to it. Again, things that we can intersperse throughout the day. One of the biggest things that I want to see happen is we're not just, we're stuck to like a specific time, but we can drop things routinely throughout the week that people can access again. So if somebody's watching it, in the morning, or watching it at noon, or watching it in the evening, whatever they're at, wherever they're at, they can have something to watch. Again, just to have that hope.
Yeah. And then I'm going to come into David there, but also when you're talking about that, you can put like even PDFs or documents out there of the lessons, especially with kids and things, to engage parents. And hey, parents, this is what we're going to talk about. And here's some more verses if you want to spend time with your kids, and really bring them along and treat them as your leaders you would in kids ministry or any other. Like if you're doing life group discipleship classes, you can put that PDF out there so that then as a family, they can talk about those points as well, even after the stream or the recorded video is ended.
Awesome. I mean, this is like a slew of pro tips we just got thrown out there in the last 45 seconds by every one of these guys. Honestly, the only thing I'd even consider adding there is just what Michael's talking about, honestly, is like, there's your power user stuff. It's not just video. It's not just a social network. It's not just a website. It's all those things. It's think about if a document is what serves the ministry purpose, then let the document serve the ministry purpose. The only thing I'd add is you do have opportunities for engagement in like direct engagement too. So not just social media, but I mean, you could put a Wufoo form or like a form stack form out there as a connection card, so that some of the components that you lose kind of from the analog, world, you can digitize them. In fact, I think there's a lot of churches who are going, they're kind of thrust into this world, and maybe in a sense it's a little bit of a new world, But there's some things that even when things do return to normal, and in Jesus' name, that'll be soon, some of these things you need to keep. Some of this newfound favor in the digital area, in the technology area, you need to keep doing it after things return to normal, because what up to now, technology has been such a great introducer of people to the church. Like, we call it the front door of our church, because especially our live stream, because it gives people an opportunity to taste the city, see these people aren't weird, see that it's something I can kind of trust. It's comfortable. It's an excellent environment, things like that. And hopefully they decide to show up. And so we have a lot of people who get introduced to our church through technology usage. And the same thing can be true for you. So maybe you haven't fully embraced it up to this point. Now you kind of have to. Well, you need to kind of keep that embrace going, even when things do return to normal. And there are ways you can take some of the analog forms of ministry, and even analog things like paper step processes, ministry processes, and you can make a digital counterpart. I mean, there's a way you can have intercessory prayer people on your teams pray one-on-one for other people in live chat, on Zoom, on the phone, on FaceTime, Skype, whatever. Just go, well, what we used to do is we'd lay hands on people, in person, and we hope to return to that soon. But now I'm gonna lay hands on a screen, but I'm just gonna symbolically ask the Lord to make that the connection we need. Let's not get caught up in the theology right now. Let's just focus on the reality that God's power is still at work. And if the same power that raised Christ from the dead is alive and well with us, and power and strength is within us, let's go. So that's the only thing I'd add, is just think that there's ways to truly engage, not just somebody watching something and consuming something. It's a two-way street. And when you're really what was just described, if you do that well, that's what you'll feel. You'll feel the connections. You'll feel the two-way street. And even when you're having meetings and conversations like this, you'll kind of forget that you're on a video call. Like, you'll actually find yourself engaging kind of similar to real life, because after all, that's exactly what this is. So, food for thought.
Yeah. And you hit on that a couple of things there, keeping the practical. If you might have a church Facebook page that you have a public side there, but if you don't, you can start. If you do have that, but you don't have what's called the Facebook groups, I would advise popping some of those up for, like, if you had the kids group where you can post the Rural Ranger missionary videos aside in a group, and it can be closed, private, and you can invite your church family into that group without inviting the whole world in. Your page would be your lessons, your service and things you want everyone to see, but you can do different groups, and you can have as many. You can have a kids group, you can have a Rural Rangers group, you can have a ladies group, and all these things people can post in content and inside the group, kind of like a church fellowship there. And so, I'm sure y'all might have some points about that as well. And the next thing I want to throw out there that's free that David was talking about, I want a response card now. There are several different forms there, but even Google Forms is a free one that you can get in, and you can build out a response card, whether that's here's a link for prayer, here's a link to you want to find more about our church, all those things, and you can post those links in the comments or whatever video you're putting out there. So I throw those two practical things to discuss if y'all have had experience with either of those groups or Google Forms or the like.
Facebook groups are unbelievably great. Google Forms are great. You might actually be on a church management system like CCB or Planning Center or something like that, that might actually have form capabilities. So you might actually be able to connect that data that's coming in from people. Like if they mark a spiritual response on a card, you might actually be able to connect that directly to your church management system where your kind of central data is. So you don't even have to kind of migrate it. Because if you build a Google form, those are awesome, but then you need somebody who can kind of take that data and do something with it. By the way, extremely important. Don't create a digital process that you don't have a sort of people or ministry process to back. If somebody goes, I want prayer, and they show up and nobody there, it'd be way better not to offer, in the beginning. And we even made some decisions even last Sunday to hold on some of that stuff just because of the sheer volume. We just weren't sure whether the team could handle it, and we could spend up time in just very short, amount of time to get ready for that. And so we just chose to kind of, just hold on some of those things. But practically too, a couple other systems just to mention real quick. Slack is a really great instant messaging type tool. Very, very good at grouping people together. GroupMe is a cool app for kind of those real quick, like just assemble a group. And of course, iMessage text groups. Don't discount just a simple group text message. It's right there. It's common to everybody. You don't have to sign up for a particular technology, necessarily.
Let me ask this, because you brought in doing forms. Our plan for Connect card or whatever was, hey, comment down below, let us know you're here. Hey, if you have any prayer requests, write them down, and we have a prayer team that's gonna pray for you. Do you think that we should go further, take on a link, or because our thought was we don't want them to leave that page if we don't have to?
Yeah, I mean, so with our online campus page, we have a chat system integrated. And if you do want, if pastors, if you feel ready, I would say if you have a live stream, if you have
we'll use our Facebook Live for us than our actual campus page.
Sure. Yeah. We have a high percentage of people that use it. We even added YouTube Live this past Sunday, really quick. Had never been on, really had a YouTube presence before, but turned it on. Honestly, just out of sheer load, just trying to be sure that if something happened with our stuff, and we had a couple of little issues actually, but then Facebook Live and YouTube Live were up and running. But yeah, yeah, I think you want to just be. I don't think you have to go and do anything. I think, but if you feel like the Holy Spirit's prompting you, and this is, we have this great prayer team, and we have a way to enable them to do it. Then by all means, Church Online Platform is an awesome resource. ChurchOnlinePlatform.com. It's built by the team at Life Church, the same church that the Bible app and the resources side I was talking about earlier. Church Online Platform is awesome. You can stream through it. You can optionally have chat, optionally have prayer, optionally have message notes, optionally have Bible scriptures that go along with the message. There's a kind of a interaction component around salvations, like raised hands, which is really cool. We found, at least for us this past Sunday, a couple of things we discovered was that the connection card really wasn't elevated enough. Like on a normal Sunday with just the normal online engagement, it was kind of fine. People are kind of used to know where it is. But when you split across all the platforms, we didn't get a lot of connection cards. So at the end of the day, we just didn't have a lot of response connection card wise, but part of it was because we didn't feel like it was elevated enough. So we're just making some really simple tweaks. We're putting the connection card on the home page of our church, our church website. And so just little things like that you can go, oh, I see that doesn't seem right. There should be more engagement there. Let's make some adjustments, which, by the way, technology is incredible at measuring the outcome. Don't get too caught up in likes and comments and stuff in that sense, but you can definitely tell them, it's well, actually more people probably wanted to fill out a connection card, so maybe we need to do a better job at getting getting that placed in the right way with a big enough button to make it really clear how people can can. So
that's good. I've seen a lot going back to Facebook and everything in the Facebook groups. You can set up questions on that, just act as a connect card. I've seen people do that where you have what's your email address, phone number, and then ask them how long have you been going here, and that's a good way also to kind of get that information, especially if you don't have a system already that you put all your data into as well. And again, the comments thing is good too, especially you can take attendance almost that way. It's hey, let us know you're watching. You can see people will say, hey, I'm watching, or if you're new, or even if you have a prayer request, you give them a keyword. You can go back and search for those people and specifically invite them or give them a next step to follow up on as well, which I thought was pretty interesting.